Hey patrons, it's X, and I'm here with a very tired Kyle and a very tired Felicia.
I'm not tired. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just drunk.
I'm just drunk. Knock it off, man.
That's amazing. Actually, we're right on time right now. We're right on time right now. Actually, this is about the time we do this. Anyway, welcome to the Secret Patron Show. It is July the 9th as we're recording this. And this is the patron exclusive content that we offer to our $1 and up patrons. So literally everybody who chips in. So these fine folks get it for a whole 6-month buffer of stuff to listen to that those of you hearing this in January 2018, around my birthday, are missing out on. Anyway, regardless of who's hearing this right now, we're going to make it somewhat quick because we've given you guys a bunch of stuff tonight and it's been some long episodes this week. So let's get it all out there. Let's talk about the problems that we have with the secular/atheist movement and what we can do to fix these things. I know that's kind of a big thing to take a bite out of, but first of all, I'm going to bring up the Peter Boghossian shit that's been going on about his the conceptual penis paper that he wrote and got it published in a non-accredited fucking journal, and like they're trying to say, "See, look, gender studies is wrong."
Yeah. So the first thing that we can do, as if we're going to be a movement, is disregard the biases of religious thinking. And one of those big ones is sexism.
Oh, God.
And gender binary ideas. There have been a lot of cultures that didn't subscribe to these ideas, guys. And they were fine. They're fine.
Yeah, they did just fine.
They're just fine. The thing is that inclusivity, yeah, is good for us. It's good for us. It's challenging and it takes work, but it is actually good for us because at the end of the day, we get more ideas, giving us better avenues to explore.
Yeah.
And the people at the top of the secular and atheist movement seem to not care for any ideas that don't come from white men.
Yeah, and me being the guy that watches all the YouTube atheists out there, or at least at one time did, there's a lot of them that think that feminism is bad. They think that, there's only 2 genders, and they love to fight over this shit over and over and over again. It's like, can we just let people be people? Why do we have to do takedown videos?
For science-based thinkers, that's remarkably stupid.
Yeah. And
for people who claim they're science-based thinkers, but they're not. Because let's be honest, we're all emotional thinkers, actually.
Yeah, like Peter Boghossian. I'm bringing it back to him because he is the editor of Skeptic magazine, and he did that fake study thing that made it out there. But it seems like he's rounding the bases into complete craziness right now, because he posted a tweet yesterday where he said, "Why is it that nearly every male who's a third wave intersectional feminist is physically feeble and has a terrible body habitus?"
Define.
Well, physically feeble, what the fuck does that mean anyway? I mean, are you talking about like I can't stand up under my own weight? Do I have to drive a Jazzy everywhere because
And don't you love Stephen Hawking, who is remarkably physically feeble but is mentally proficient?
Yeah. And has a terrible body habitus. Fuck is a body habitus anyway? Is that saying that I eat too much garbage? Because I mean, that's true.
Wait.
I think he's talking about hygiene. Is he talking about hygiene?
I thought he was talking about diet.
General constitution, especially bodily build. Okay. So we know what habitus is now.
So
he's trying to say we're all fat and ugly.
Could be. Yeah, that's possible.
So what he's doing is he is disregarding males who don't fit the idea of bodily perfection, which, as we know, is not a thing.
Yeah, like 99% of the world is not body. We don't look like Venus and David. Yeah, we're not.
Aesthetically. because there are a lot of people. It turns out that having fat on your thighs is a good indication of health. Now, not too much fat, but it's just he is trying to shame men.
I like to call it being deliciously marbled. Thank you very much.
I like chubby guys. I like chubby guys. I like
so
chubby
much
guys.
Marbling.
I like chubby guys. I'm not gonna lie. That's where my traction ends up going is chubby.
Look, we're generous, okay?
Yeah.
That's just where it is.
We like to eat.
Look. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. He's got definite problems here because that's like one step away from calling us a bunch of cucks. I mean that's honestly where that's coming towards, and just okay. Here's since I brought that one up, let me bring up another one here. People unwilling to just shut the fuck up and listen to people that don't have privilege. How about just shutting the fuck up and listening to people?
Mm-hmm. You know what's really hard to do?
Yeah.
Is be poor and be in shape. Turns out our society does not grant that privilege.
No, not so much. Yeah.
One of my favorite shows that I like to listen to, Angry Black Rants from Ishmael Brown. For people that would probably just be walking off the street, normal white cisgender guy. I mean, cis has nothing to do with it, but if you're just a normal white dude and you listen to that podcast, you're going to be like, I can't listen to this. This is racism, or this is racist against white people. You're like, that's really not how it works. And
no, not really. Yeah. Okay.
You know, you're talking about a systemic power system. You know, you can't really beat. Anyway, a lot of people don't agree on the structures of racism where you have to have the power.
But I get it. You know, it's hard to be a white person who finds themselves compassionate.
Yeah.
And hear that you are a part of a system that is not.
But the thing is, if you would just sit there and listen to his show,
just for a minute,
just for a couple minutes, you'd be like, fuck, I never heard the other side of these discussions before.
Exactly.
And so you need to go out there. You need to listen to the Atheist Manifesto. You need to listen to the Scissor Getting Out of Hand. You need to listen to, what else am I thinking of here? You need to listen to Angry Black Rants. You need to listen to podcasts from marginalized people.
Yep.
To be able to understand these other opinions that you probably have never been confronted with in your life. Especially if you're someone from Utah, like most of us are. Is that like if you live in Salt Lake, it's a pretty good chance that you've met up with a lot of these people. But hearing Riss talk about her trip to Salt Lake City and how terribly she was treated, like we live here.
That was awesome. That was awful. I was there.
It broke my heart.
Yeah.
And it's if you don't hear about these other people's experiences, you're never going to be a more well-rounded person. Which is why when we talked David Smalley on the episodes this week, where we had a big problem with it because he's saying, I, me, my. You know, it's like,
I am better. I am the most. I am above this. And that's another thing, is that you need to accept that you are not above your humanity. All right?
And
you and all your education and all your logical thinking. No, you are subject to your emotions and you are subject to your biases. And the only way you can combat them is by owning it.
And so for me,
are you trying to say that everybody has bias?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, wow.
And feeling.
Wow.
Lots of feelings.
Are you trying to say that we also have to acknowledge our own internal bias to recognize?
I am.
That's so crazy.
It requires being open and vulnerable.
Wow, self-aware. Oh my God. I might have weird internal bias that I'm not even aware of.
As a white person, whenever people of color that I'm exposed to start talking about white people do this, I get kind of like,
oh
there's
my God.
there's a part of me that goes, no. But then I have to go, yeah, but like, yeah. You have to accept the situation you're in, and you have to accept empathy and vulnerability, which is so hard. It's
almost like you have to ignore that little part of your brain that goes, no, not all white people.
Right.
Shit.
You have to not say that out loud. Don't be that guy.
And just hear them.
Yeah.
Just hear them for a minute. And then, you know what? You know what I've never experienced? Racism against white people. It's funny. Every time I have come to a person of color. Okay, well, there are.
But that was a very, very different situation in a very, very different town.
But every time I've come to people of color with empathy and acceptance and explaining why I was thinking the way I was or where I'm coming from, I have never been met with hostility.
Yeah.
I've been met with, hey, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for being open.
It's almost
or
like
just not a thank, because
that's how you're supposed to treat other people.
Or they're just like, okay, that's the way you're supposed to do it. And you know what?
Yeah.
That's also fine. But I've never been met with abuse for being vulnerable about my whiteness. Not once have I been met with abuse for being vulnerable about my whiteness.
So,
and I've been met with abuse for a lot.
It's almost like you can approach a situation by saying, hi, I'm part of the problem, even if I don't want to be.
And so when I'm talking about people sitting the fuck down and shutting the fuck up, that involves, discussions of safe spaces. Like, people have an idea of a safe space, and it's not what they think it is. And what that means is that's a place where people that are not of that ilk really have to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. It is here's another one of the rules that people need to tattoo across their fucking foreheads when it comes to joining kind of conversations about stuff like this is it's not about you.
It's not about
but not about me. I'm saying, like, it's for the person out there that needs to hear this message. It's like, when you're listening to somebody's story and you're listening to how they've been dealt with in their life, like when Riss was talking about how she was treated here in Salt Lake City, the wrong thing to do and be like, well, I've never had an experience where people were mean to me like that. It's like, no, that's not what they're looking for.
Right.
What you do is you confront your own biases, check in with yourself and say, have I ever behaved in this way? And if you have not, good. Be aware and continue that pattern. If you have, understand why you did such things. Where did that hostility come from? Why did you behave this way? And check in. Okay? And then in the future,
call that shit out. Call it out.
Call it out. And for the love of everything, do not be the person to say, well, I haven't done that.
Not all men. Hashtag not all men. Hashtag.
I have participated in racist behaviors.
Yeah.
I have done it.
It's happened. Yes. Every single person has.
We're the top of the.
Now. Aware of my biases. I'm working on it, damn it. That's the best I can do. And I'm gonna keep working on it, and I'm gonna keep listening to other cultures that I am a participant in, because god damn it, they're human beings and they deserve as much of my vulnerability as they're willing to give me when they put it out on a podcast.
Yep.
There it is.
All right, so what else do you guys think that we could do to solve the secular/atheist movement? Let's see. How about checking that fucking ego? Check that ego.
Yeah. Shut the door.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Science doesn't have room for.
Right. Just because you're right doesn't mean you have to walk around with that chip on your shoulder.
You know what the other thing is? Take a fucking side when the evidence is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
when the evidence is there, take a fucking side.
Right. not all sides deserve a platform.
Nope.
That's it.
One of the first times I realized the whole ego thing within the atheist movement is when I was in the baby atheism stage, where, you know, you're checking out all these people that are talking about all this stuff, especially like Richard Dawkins, you know, Read the God Delusion. You're like, wow, what a great book. And you read some of his biology stuff and you're like, wow, what a great book. Then you go follow him on Twitter.
Nope.
And it's like, oh, I need to realize that I have to separate the people from their works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's a quick way, because, you know, I'm sure he doesn't expect the royal treatment wherever he goes, and I'm sure he's a very wonderfully nice guy most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that I'm just saying, I want to think that he's that nice guy, but he said some horrible shit in the past. I understand that.
Yeah, actually, a lot of these guys that at the top of the atheist movement have some pretty serious
allegations towards them.
Allegations against them towards their treatment of women, and particularly the treatment of people of color.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
Hitchens had a lot of problems.
Yeah. Hitchens was far from a perfect person. Yeah.
No, he was a great orator. He was a great writer.
Oh, yeah.
Really great writer, and he did some really good investigative journalism.
Mm-hmm.
But
he was super misogynistic.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
And that's the thing. We have to realize these things. We have to own these things, but at the same time, you can't use that to discount the good that comes from these people.
Right.
And that's what Smalley was trying to say, is that we're throwing out 95% and only accepting, we're throwing out the 5% and only accepting 95. It's like, no, we're accepting the important shit, but we're also saying, but
we're addressing the issues.
We're throwing the asterisks on there, like, poof, okay, like, look, if you really want to read that footnote, it's there. You can go check that out. But at the same time, this was a great thing that was done, you know, this kind of thing. It's like Martin Luther King did great stuff for the civil rights movements, but he also had his issues, just like Malcolm X.
He was kind of a homophobe.
Yeah.
He was kind of,
He was a man of his times. But that's the thing, is that you have to you have to realize
Lincoln was a racist.
Abraham
Lincoln,
just a little bit.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln believed that black people were more like gorillas. He just didn't think they should be slaves.
Subspecies back when phrenology was going on. Oh man.
But getting rid of slavery was a good thing.
See, you recognize the good.
We can acknowledge that, and we can acknowledge that Christopher Hitchens did some wonderful investigative journalism.
Yeah.
And he was a really good writer. But we can also say, he's not a perfect hero. And that's called adulthood, when you realize that your heroes aren't perfect.
Don't worship your heroes.
There's no such thing as a perfect hero.
Nope.
Captain America is part of Hydra. Yay!
I love Beauty and the Beast, and it's also sort of saying that you can fix an abusive relationship.
Yeah, it's kind of
really.
It's kind of
you
an
can't
example
fix an
of
abusive relationship with magic.
Yay! Yay!
Kind of a Stockholm Syndrome, the movie.
A little bit. A little bit.
But it's so beautiful. I love it. Anyway, but that's like just me saying, like, I enjoy H.P. Lovecraft's horror stories, and some of them are really good. But you start scratching just a little bit beneath that surface.
He was a terrible anti-Semite.
He was really bad.
Horrible racist.
There's that nuance.
Terrific writer. Terrific, beautiful writer.
So, you guys, this is where it does come from cherry picking, but we can do it with evidence.
Yeah.
Take out the ideas that you can base in evidence that are beneficial, and the ones that are not, you can criticize. I love people with bad ideas. Every one of us does, right? My dad is skeptical of vaccines, but he is truly accepting of who I am and has been a wonderful support system to me without being an asshole about it. My mom believes in ghosts, but does not believe in God. So This is where we have to go. You can get so much meaning from so many people, but do not decide that that person is the arbiter of truth, because they are not.
Because they're people.
Always check in with yourself, and always check in with your beliefs. Are they real? Are they helpful? And you know what? Trust your gut.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
at the end of
for the last bullet point I think we should bring up here is that believe and follow your own thoughts. Own your shit. Like, if you have a belief about something, be prepared to back that up. Know why you believe things. Know why you think certain things. And if you believe something, know something, think you know something, but you're not sure about it, by all means, we have this wonderful thing called technology that could easily answer or destroy beliefs. And believe me, I've had to go through some times where I'm like, oh fuck, I used to think this kind of thing was true, or this kind of thing happened, and it's like, god damn, I'm glad that I had the opportunity to learn something new. And so when we put out shows, we put out articles, we put out videos and stuff, and when people come at us with corrections, I'm happy to own up to these things, because
and empathy is almost never wrong. Like, I have not actually been presented with a situation where you empathize with a human's experience and it can be denied by science. You empathize with somebody who says that they are another gender. You empathize with their difficulty, not necessarily with their being another gender, but with their difficulty in their experience. You empathize with the challenge, and they're not wrong. Because how many times have you in your life been told you should be one thing and you're just not, and you had to accept that about yourself? We can all relate to that experience.
My wife thinks that I'm playing an elaborate prank on her right now because I have a fish in my fish tank that keeps moving one of the plants around, and she thinks that I'm the one doing it. I'm just like, no, not even in my best times would I think of something that fucking brilliantly funny to do. And I said, I swear upon the sex that we have that I would never have it again.
That is the best fucking swear upon anything that I've ever heard in my life. So check in. Understand your gut feelings. Sometimes your gut feelings are going to be wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they're going to be right. Check in.
Sometimes that thing that you thought you heard, you didn't hear it right.
Oh, yeah. And always keep an open mind.
Yeah. Well, no, go listen to, oh, fuck. I was going to say there's a diatribe that No Illusions put out just this week about how closed-mindedness is not a bad thing. But
what I mean is open. I don't mean open to everything.
Yeah, not so much that your brains fall out, as the saying goes.
Yeah. But an open mind to new ideas.
Yeah,
new
to you being wrong. Also,
old shit. Not rehashed old shit that we addressed long ago. Guess what? Racism is bullshit.
Yeah,
we addressed that a long time ago, guys.
See,
long ago.
This is the podcast. Bullshit. This is the podcast for the people that have gotten past Curb A. There is no God. Okay, great. Now what?
Yep.
Well, there's Curb B, C, D, and
you get to choose which one you go first after. You got past that first one. Now you've got all these other doors to go through.
Exactly. You got past the easiest question. Now dive deep, motherfuckers.
Yep.
Dive deep. Oh, and there are mental health resources out there for you. You need to get it checked out.
Exactly. All right. Well, that does it for us. It's we say we're going to go short, but of course we can't. We never do. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. We are going to get out of here. It's time for bed for the rest of the panel. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week with another one. See ya.